Danny fell into step beside him. The streets of Darkwater were already emptying, everyone moving inside earlier than usual. "I'm not joking around, Ryan," Danny said. "I've heard it. 2 years back, right outside my house, late at night." "Heard what?" Danny went quiet for a moment. "My mom's voice. My mom has been gone for 6 years, Ryan." Ryan didn't have an answer for that. The next day had the particular quality of days before storms. Everyone moving with purpose, getting things done early, watching the sky. By late afternoon, every porch in Darkwater was empty. By evening, every door in town was shut. Ryan and his wife Sarah sat in the living room. The television was on, but neither of them was watching it. Around 10 o'clock, Sarah turned off most of the lights. She was trying to seem casual about it, but her eyes kept going to the door. "You doing okay?" Ryan asked. She gave a small smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Ask me again in the morning." At 11, the town was so quiet that Ryan could hear the bayou moving somewhere in the dark beyond the tree line. He checked the locks. He wasn't sure when he decided to do that, but he did it. Just before midnight, there was a knock at the door. Both of them went still. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered. "Yes." A pause. Then it came again. 3 knocks, even impatient. "It's probably just," Ryan started. Then a voice. "Ryan. Ryan, open up. Please, Ryan." The color left Ryan's face entirely. It was Danny's voice. Perfectly, completely Danny. The particular rhythm of how Danny said his name, the slight roughness in his throat that had been there since high school. "Ryan, man, I need help. Please." Sarah grabbed his arm. "Don't. What if it's actually him? What if something happened? Ryan, remember what Elder James said." The voice came again, more urgent now. "There's something behind me, Ryan. I'm serious, man. Please open the door." Ryan was already at the door. His hand was on the deadbolt. Grown, sweeter than anything he could name. "Peach. Fresh peaches, sir. Sweetest in the whole county. You won't find anything like these anywhere." Henry looked at the basket. The peaches were enormous. Golden. Almost glowing in the moonlight. "Why are you selling at this hour?" he asked. "Daytime people look at the price," she said. "Nighttime people look at the taste." Her voice had a quality Henry couldn't define. Too still. Too measured. Like someone reciting lines they had memorized a very long time ago. He tried to see her face, but the veil was thick and the road was dark. He bought 3 peaches. He couldn't explain later why he did it. Only that he had wanted them more than he had wanted anything in recent memory. Anxious face with sweat, Henry put the peaches on his kitchen table and went to bed. Around midnight, he woke up and ate one. It was the best thing he had ever tasted in his life. He ate the second immediately. He was halfway through the third when he made himself stop. At 2 a.m., he woke to the sound of footsteps in his bedroom. A woman was standing in the corner, completely still. He could not see her face. "Who are you?" Henry sat up. "How did you get in my house?" She raised her head slowly. Her eyes were solid black. No whites. No iris. Just black from edge to edge. Her smile was wide and wrong. "How did you like my peaches, Henry? How do you know my name? Anyone who eats my fruit never forgets me. You ate my fruit. Now you can never escape me." Henry blinked. She was gone. He turned on every light in the house and sat at his kitchen table until sunrise. The remaining peach on the table had turned completely black. Skull. The next evening, Henry went to the feed store and told everyone what had happened. This time nobody argued. Nobody suggested coincidence. "I saw her 2 nights ago," said a man named Curtis. "Didn't buy anything. Something stopped me." "We need to find out what this actually is," said Raymond, who had taught school for 30 years and believed in looking. "I think I like Jenna. Has for a while now, actually." A small, apologetic laugh. "You're great, Maya. Just not like that." The rest of the ride passed in silence. When they pulled up outside her building, Maya got out without a word, stood on the sidewalk while his taillights disappeared into the rain, and only then let herself fall apart. Inside, soaked and shaking, she yanked open her dresser drawer, pawing through it without really seeing what was in front of her, just needing something. Anything. To make the ache in her chest stop for 1 minute. Her hands were trembling so badly, she barely registered the strange object sitting at the back of the drawer until her fingers closed around it. An hourglass. Old, the wood dark with age, the glass somehow still warm. She hadn't put it there. She'd never seen it before in her life. You're the one who didn't get what she wanted. Maya spun around. A woman stood in the corner of her room, ash pale, eyes like wet stone, dressed in something that looked older than the building itself. Maya's back hit the wall. Who? How did you get in here? It doesn't matter how I got in. What matters is what you're holding. The woman's gaze dropped to the hourglass. Make a wish and turn it over. As the sand falls, your wish falls into place beside it. But remember, once it starts, it doesn't stop on its own. What are you talking about? What is this? When Maya blinked, the woman was gone. She told herself it was exhaustion, grief, a very bad dream. Until she opened her eyes the next morning and the hourglass was still sitting on her nightstand, exactly where it shouldn't have been. She stared at it a long time before she finally picked it up, turned it over, and whispered the only wish that mattered to her: I want Ethan to love me. That same afternoon, walking to class, Ethan appeared in front of her out of nowhere, and the look on his face was nothing like the one from the rainy car ride. It was something closer to wonder. Everywhere, overwhelming, almost nauseating in its sweetness. 5 minutes and they reached the center of the orchard. An old stone well, dry for a long time. The woman with the basket stood beside it. The wind came suddenly. Her veil lifted. All 4 men stepped backward at the same moment. Her face was not impossible, not monstrous, just wrong. Beautiful once, clearly. But the beauty had gone through something that had taken a very long time and had not been gentle. Face screaming in fear. 100 years, she said, and nobody ever came to find out the truth. What truth? Raymond said. He was the only one who could form words. My name was Clara Mae Jackson. I lived in Sweetwater in 1924. My husband James and I owned this orchard. The whole grove. Best peach trees in 3 counties. Crying face. She looked up at the trees around them. In the dark, her expression was something Raymond would spend years trying to describe to people and never quite managing it. Some men in town wanted this land. Valuable land, good soil, right location. They came one night in August. They killed James first. When I fought back, she paused. They put me in this well. She placed one hand on the stone edge of the well. Her fingers were pale, almost translucent in the dark. They told everyone we'd sold the land and moved north. The orchard was divided up. The town moved on. Nobody looked for us. Nobody asked. Broken heart. The men who did this, Henry said carefully, they're dead now. 100 years ago. Their children farmed our land, Clara said. Their grandchildren sold it. Their great-grandchildren are living on money that came from our murder. The sin didn't die when they did. But the people you've been killing, Raymond said, they're not related to any of that. Clara went still. Tommy Briggs, Raymond said. His family came to Sweetwater in 1987. He had nothing to do with what happened to you. The Hendersons, the Kowalski family. None of them were here in 1924, faced with steam from nose. I needed, she started. You need justice, Raymond said. That's not what you were taking. The orchard was completely silent. Danny noticed something. Near the well, half buried in the soil, a flat stone. He crouched and brushed the dirt away. Old carving. Names. 5 of them. And beneath the names, words that were harder to read. He tilted his head and used his phone light. Guilty of the murder of Clara, Mae, and James Jackson. August 1924. Raymond, Danny said. Come look at this. Fearful face. Raymond read it. Read it again. Stood up. Clara. He turned toward her. Someone knew. Someone carved this and buried it here. Someone in this town knew what happened to you and tried to leave a record. Clara looked at the stone. For the first time, something changed in her expression. Something cracked slightly in the permanent wrongness of her face. I didn't know that, she said, very quietly. Broken heart. "You're not Clara Mae Jackson anymore," Raymond said. "Not cruelly. The way you say something true that needs to be said. You were wronged in a way that no person should be wronged. But what you've become, what you've been doing these past decades, Clara Mae Jackson wouldn't have done those things. She grew peaches. She built something with her husband. She was someone's neighbor. I became angry," Clara said. "You became something that fed on the anger," Raymond said. "That's different. And I think somewhere in you, you know that." The orchard was completely still. No wind. No sound from the trees. Just 5 people, 4 alive and 1 not, standing around an old well in the Georgia darkness. "Skull." Clara looked at her hands. "The curse is in the fruit," she said finally. "It's how I kept power. Every soul I took fed the orchard. Fed me. Then we destroy the fruit," Henry said, face with steam from nose. "All of it." Danny looked at the dozens of trees around them, each one heavy with peaches that glowed faintly in the dark. "All of it," Raymond said. Curtis was already gathering dry branches from the orchard floor. Henry helped. Dry branches from the orchard floor. Henry helped. Danny found an old fence post and used it to knock fruit from the nearest trees. Raymond organized the pile, a massive heap of glowing peaches in the center clearing, surrounded by dry wood. Clara watched. "If you do this," she said, "everything I built here is gone," Raymond said. "Yes. The souls trapped in the fruit will be free." Clara was quiet for a moment. "Yes," she said. "They will." Broken heart. Raymond lit the fire. The first peach caught, and the sound that came from the orchard was not fire sound. It was voice sound. Dozens of voices, released and rising. The burning spread through the pile, and with each fruit that caught, the air filled with something that was not smoke. Clara Mae Jackson stood at the edge of the fire and watched the orchard that had been hers burn away. "I'm sorry," she said, to the voices in the fire, to the orchard, to whatever remained of the person she had been in 1924. "I'm sorry. I thought I was fighting for us. I became something else entirely." Crying face. The fire burned for an hour. When it was done, the trees of the dark grove were bare. Every piece of fruit gone. The clearing around the well was ash and moonlight. Clara was barely visible now. Fading. The way things fade when whatever was holding them in place finally lets go. "The well," she said. Her voice was very faint. "Close the well. We've been down there long enough. We'll make sure people know what happened," Raymond said. "Your name. James's name. What was done to you in 1924. People will know." "That's enough," Clara said. And she was gone. Dove. The 4 men of Sweetwater, Georgia, filled the well with stones before the sun came up. They worked in silence, passing rocks hand to hand, until the opening was sealed completely. Raymond wrote everything down that week. The names on the stone: Clara Mae Jackson and James Jackson. The 5 names of the men who had killed them. He submitted it to the County Historical Society and the local paper and the Georgia Department of Archives. The response surprised him. Records existed. Property transfers from 1924 that had always seemed irregular. A complaint filed by a neighboring farmer that had never been investigated. The archive people were interested. A historian from the University of Georgia came to Sweetwater the following spring. A marker was placed at the edge of what had been the dark grove. Clara Mae and James Jackson, farmers, neighbors, residents of Sweetwater. Remembered. Broken heart. The orchard itself never grew back. The land stayed bare and flat, which the Agricultural Extension Office found botanically inexplicable given the quality of the soil. But the people of Sweetwater understood it fine. Some ground needs to rest after what it's been through. Henry drove past it sometimes on his way to his own fields. In the early morning, when the Georgia summer mist sat low on the ground and the peach trees in the distance were pink with blossoms, he would slow his truck and look at the bare patch of land and say 2 names out loud. Clara Mae, James. Just saying them. Into the Georgia morning. The way you acknowledge something that happened whether you acknowledge it or not. Then he would drive on. And the morning would be just a morning. And Sweetwater would be just a town. And the peaches that season were the best anyone could remember. Sweet and golden and grown by people who tended their own land and harmed nobody and went home to their families at the end of the day. Peach, the way it always should have been. Dove, the end ghost.